Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to the southern wing of the Stink Bug Works. I've been doing some contemplating, some fitting, some thinking, and let me tell you what I got for you today. I got a bunch of things. First, with the servo and batteries and a receiver and all back here, but no rudder, and let's throw in the prop shaft. And a motor there, it pretty much balances right here where it's supposed to. Now I realize I'm going to add more stuff, and on the sides there's more wood forward to this than there is after this, but I'm going to be adding a rudder and some other stuff in here. So all in all, as far as chasing the balance point is, or as far as chasing the balance point goes, I'm real close. It's not going to take a ton of weight to get it to balance exactly where I want. It may only take a few grams. So here's what I came up with yesterday. The batteries, I'm going to put a piece of this mahogany here to give the batteries a little place to live. And also, once they're glued in, I'm going to notch this end with the Dremel tool. I'll come in here like this with the Dremel tool and put a notch in there that will clear these wires. I haven't figured out how I'm going to run wiring through this bulkhead. I would like to keep this section watertight if I could, but with today's radios and conformal coating and such, it's not critical. And besides, I don't think this thing's going to be whipping around fast enough to be flipping very often. So I'd like to keep this area watertight, but I just don't know if I can. And part of the thinking is, how am I going to get wires from here to here and the battery wires from here to here? And I was thinking of, maybe taking some connectors and cutting a hole just the right size and epoxying connectors, in between here so we can just plug into the wall. We'll see about that. I was thinking of using one of those drive shafts from Tenshock that I have on my bigger eco boat. But it's a flex shaft, and it comes down in a curved level with the bottom of the hull. Oh, yeah, see, I made a servo mount out of wood. And then these are just kind of wedged in there right now. All these parts right here, this, and these wooden parts here are going to go into a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to pour epoxy in there, and I'm going to smush them around a bit and take a paintbrush and paintbrush in there. One of these little paintbrushes. I have a bunch of these little paintbrushes that are hard for some reason. They usually go in the trash. Another thing I was thinking about, while I was talking about the driveline, I may go back to thinking just a straight driveline, in a 5/32 tube with a 1/8-inch shaft, or I could get fancy and put bearings in it. I don't know. I'll probably just run a tube in the shaft. But part of it was I would need a good U-joint here on the motor. Well, I got to looking at these spring-style U-joints, and I said, well, you know what? Let's try one out and see what I think. See what kind of energy losses there are from making it change direction from here to here. And I quickly realized there's almost no energy losses in a bend like that. And so I may go back to the straight shaft thinking and just use this, spring universal joint. As long as your deflections are less than about 30 degrees, they're pretty smooth running. So that's what's thinking on that. I'll have to do a comparison between the two drive shafts and see which way I want to go. But this is a pretty good plan B. So I think I'm going to mix up some epoxy and put it in a Ziploc bag with some parts, smush it all around, and when they come out, you wipe them down, set them on a piece of wax paper, and they're ready to glue in. And once they're glued in, they get another coat. And, but you want to make sure you got a good first coat on there to seal all the little tiny microscopic pores. There you go, boys and girls. Until next time, jet out.